I'm just ringing in regard to a recent report released by the NRMA saying there's been a 45% increase in people calling for tyre and wheel-related issues. So potholes has been a major issue. Now, obviously the wet weather would be a factor there, but I dare say, look, this is a running commentary for people in the local Dubbo area that the roads need improvement. Can you just tell me where we're at there, please?
I'm interested in the information you've got there from the NRMA. Is that 45% increase across the entire state, or is that just the Dubbo local government area?
No, across the entire state. This is very general. So look, in the Western region, there was 103 call-outs for tyres and wheels. So it probably wasn't as much as a lot of other areas that have had very heavy rain. But I'm using that as a springboard because I want to talk about the fact that our roads aren't in great condition and wanting to know what's happening on that front end.
There's no real surprise to me there that the NRMA has seen that increase and that increase across the state. And if you had data from other similar organisations, RACV in Victoria, for example, those other equivalents of NRMA across the nation, you'd probably find the data would be very similar from all of those. There is a common theme whenever I talk to other councils, other mayors, attend conferences, for example. The number one issue that all of those different councils seem to talk about is really the state of our roads. And there is no doubt about it, they're in a poor state. And we seem to be chasing our tail to a large extent because as soon as we repair roads, as soon as we fix roads, there seem to be other roads that need work done on them. And unfortunately, it just comes down to money. There is a huge amount of money needed to repair the roads, the potholes that you see, the potholes that seem to grow on a daily basis. And there is major reconstruction work that needs to be done on some of those roads. And again, that costs money. But even if you've got the money, the second issue seems to be the fact that you just don't have enough materials and enough staff to do all the repair work that needs to be done. So there are a number of problems there, and it's certainly not limited to the Dubbo local government area, Dubbo Regional Council local government area. It does seem to go across the state and across the nation. An ongoing issue, there is no easy solution to it. The first part of the solution needs to be this rain finally stopping, and the indications seem to be that this rain or the amount of water we're getting coming out of the sky over the last few months, last year or more, will continue on till about December. So I really don't see any let up until at least December in terms of that rain. And then once the rain starts to slow down a little bit, then that'll be just trying to fund some of those repairs. And I did see recently another council area in New South Wales is actually going out to the community and asking for a 50% rate increase over the next 3 years. And a lot of that is to do with just repairing and maintaining their infrastructure, including their road infrastructure. So the money has to come from somewhere. We're not proposing, don't get too scared, I'm not proposing that Dubbo Regional Council is about to go out and ask for a 50% rate increase from our ratepayers. But the bottom line is that it needs money, and it needs a lot of money to get roads back to something like what we've been used to in the past.
Yes, well, that makes sense. Now, is the money the main issue halting the development of Sheraton Road? Because it's much to my frustration, and I dare say many other parents who are driving from the beautiful new Boundary Road onto the Sheraton Road, and just before you connect up to the schools, oh, my goodness me. Is that the issue there? Is it money why that section has remained in the state it currently is?
Probably a couple of issues there. One of the things that's really important is long-term planning, strategic planning, and building roads to suit the traffic that's going to go on them. That particular area there, you're right, Boundary Road has been built to a standard, and that's a fantastic new road that's been built there to link up Boundary Road through to Sheraton Road. And there was probably a lack of strategy, lack of strategic planning for Sheraton Road, knowing that Boundary Road was being built and not really addressing Sheraton Road, and no money put aside to look at Sheraton Road. It was pretty obvious that once Boundary Road was extended through to Sheraton Road that you would increase the traffic on Sheraton Road. So it would have been nice to have seen some strategic planning done on Sheraton Road and have some work done, or at least ready to be done. But at the moment, it just needs money spent on it. Again, with so many other areas around Dubbo, they need money spent on those roads. And again, you spend money on Sheraton Road today, then it means you're not spending money on another road that might have been already planned to have that money spent on it. It's not an easy process to just go and spend money on one road that someone says, can you spend money on this road? Because there's a bucket of money there and there's only a certain amount of money in that bucket. You take it out to spend on one part, you haven't got it to spend on another part. So it really is just trying to work out where the highest priority is. And there's also no doubt about it that the amount of traffic on our roads has increased, and for a couple of reasons, but transport has increased on those roads as well. What we found during the pandemic period was that people weren't flying overseas and having their holiday that they might normally have throughout Europe or in America or throughout Asia. People in metropolitan areas were then travelling often by road to come out to regional areas. So that increased the amount of traffic on our roads. And then, of course, the freight task has increased and will continue to increase over recent years. And again, the pandemic required more freight to be on our roads because more people were ordering things online rather than going into shops because they couldn't go into those shops. So that increased the freight task on those roads as well. So you had more heavy trucks on our roads. So all of these things added up, and you've got this conglomeration of different events that have occurred. Increased traffic from cars, increased traffic from trucks with freight on them, increased rainfall, and really not a lot of excess money available because a lot of money was spent by governments on the pandemic, not a lot of extra money available to spend on roads. So you combine all of those and you get the state of the roads that we've got at the moment.
That was very well put, in fact. My husband was driving over a pothole a while ago and blew his tyre. Now, we just moved on, whatever. Have you ever been sued by anyone in regard to, or as council, obviously I'm talking about council, faced people kind of seeking compensation for damage done to their vehicle because of the roads? Has that been an issue you've had to deal with?
Some people have made approaches to council, but under the Civil Liberties Act 2002, road authorities, so local government, state government, for example, depending on who's responsible for the roads, road authorities are not liable for proceedings for any damage to a car or any damage to people, except if you could prove that the road authorities satisfied three conditions in terms of that state road repair. The first one is that the road authority, say council, has to know about the problem. So you can report a pothole, so that could tick part one of that. The second part is that it has to be proven that the authority, council in this case, has the resources to repair that particular part of the road. That means money, that means equipment, that means the materials, and also to cover all of the repairs that need to be done. You might be able to argue that you can cover that one part of the road repair, but that means other parts wouldn't be done. So we need to demonstrate that we've got a schedule of repairs, a schedule of roadworks, which obviously we do. And the third part is that you need to be able to prove there's some negligence on the part of the repairs that have been done, the roadwork that's been done, to show that it wasn't repaired and then rain came along and washed it away. It was repaired poorly or negligently, I suppose is the crucial word there. Now, I don't want to give legal advice. Usually when people try and make a claim against the state government or against Transport for New South Wales, for example, or against a council, then normally those claims are denied, and the Civil Liberties Act 2002 is where the legal process starts from in terms of denying that. But certainly residents are more than welcome to get their own legal advice on that. They can certainly talk to council further on that, but it's very rare for any compensation to be paid in relation to the state of the roads. All I say to people is, yes, we understand the roads are in a poor state. As much as possible, we're doing as much as we possibly can with the budget we have available, but always drive to those conditions. So if you do know that some potholes in the roads, or you do know they're going to be potholes in the roads because the roads are in a poorer state of repair than we'd like to see them, if we do know that potentially conditions aren't going to be as good as they were a couple of years ago, then please just slow down, drive those conditions, and be conscious of the fact that there may be more potential for damage to your car, more potential for an accident, and really the responsibility is on the driver ultimately to drive to those conditions.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate the chance to have a discussion about this.